Welcome to the Pro Ticker Deep Dive.
It's really great to be here.
We have a massive topic today.
Hmm.
And I mean, when I say massive, I really don't use that word lightly. We are looking at a number that it's frankly hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, it's the number that is absolutely shaking Wall Street right now.
Right. So just to set the table here for you listening, this is Amazon's capital expenditure, or CapEx, planned for the year 2026.
Yes.
$200 billion.
In a single year.
In 1 year. I mean, we see big numbers in tech all the time, right?
Right.
We see, billion-dollar acquisitions. We see huge regulatory fines.
Sure.
But this feels completely different. Can we just contextualize that for a second? Because I think the human brain genuinely struggles to visualize $200 billion of purely infrastructure spending.
It's staggering. It really is. To put it in perspective, let's just look at the energy industry.
Okay.
If you take the entire annual investment budget of the United States energy sector.
Wait, the whole sector?
Yeah, the whole thing. I'm talking about oil, gas, wind, solar, the grid upgrades, the pipelines, literally everything that powers the country.
Wow.
If you aggregate every single dollar spent on energy infrastructure in the U.S., Amazon is spending more than that, just on its own internal plumbing.
That is absolutely wild.
It is the largest single-year capital commitment in corporate history. I mean, nothing else even comes close to this.
And naturally, when you drop a number like that in an earnings report, the market doesn't exactly throw a parade.
No, they do not. The freak out was immediate.
It was brutal, right?
Violent, really. Just a violent reaction.
We saw the stock plunge over 10% in early February 2026.
Right.
It wiped out, was it nearly $450 billion in market capitalization?
Yep.
In a 9-day losing streak. I mean, that was the company's worst streak since 2006.
And that 2006 date is actually really significant.
Why is that?
Well, it's poignant because 2006 was right around the time they were really starting to build out AWS.
Oh, right. Amazon Web Services.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And back then, investors were screaming at Jeff Bezos. They were asking, why is an online bookstore building server farms?
Right. Like stick to selling books.
Exactly. They said, this is reckless. Stick to books. They genuinely thought he was burning cash on a hobby.
And now AWS is the profit engine of the entire company. It basically subsidizes the shipping of the socks and the toothpaste.
Exactly. So now, 20 years later, we are seeing the exact same dynamic play out.
History repeating itself.
Yes. Investors are looking at this $200 billion price tag and asking, is this reckless? Is Andy Jassy losing his mind?
Right, because Amazon generated $717 billion in revenue in 2025, which is a fantastic number.
It's a massive number.
But betting the house on infrastructure right now, it just feels like a huge gamble.
It does.
So that is the central question we are tackling today for you. Why is a company that is already so incredibly dominant bidding everything right now?
Is it reckless spending, or is it a necessary evolution?
Exactly. Because you don't spend that kind of money unless you are either terrified or incredibly confident.
Or, honestly, a bit of both.
True.
To answer that, we really have to look at the landscape. It is early 2026. The AI arms race is not slowing down.
If anything, it's accelerating.
Absolutely accelerating. You have Amazon, Microsoft, and Google all fighting a brutal war for supremacy. But Amazon is trying to do something unique here.
What's that?
They are trying to ignite what I call a double engine.
A double engine. Okay, break that down for us.
On one side, you have the AI infrastructure. That's AWS, the data centers, the custom chips. That's Engine 1.
The brain.
Right, the brain. On the other side, Engine 2, you have a global satellite network, which they've just rebranded as Amazon Leo.
The nervous system.
Exactly. They are trying to build the physical and digital backbone of the future simultaneously.
And this is the hard part. They are doing it while radically restructuring their human workforce at the same time.
Yes, the great flattening, which we will definitely get to later, that is the fuel for these engines.
But let's start with the money. Where is this $200 billion actually going?
Right, because you can't just spend that on office chairs.
Or free bananas in the break room.
Mm.
You have to be buying something massive.
You certainly do. This is what is being called the infrastructure supercycle. And the biggest shift here is a massive strategic pivot.
From what to what?
From a talent war to a compute war.
A compute war. Okay, explain that.
Think about the last 10 years in tech. What was the headline every single day?
Oh, the talent war.
Exactly. Google paying engineers $1 million a year.
Yeah.
Facebook hoarding PhDs.
Right. If you had the smartest guys in the room, You won the game.
Precisely. It was all about human capital. But that game has completely changed.
How so?
The bottleneck isn't just people anymore, it's compute. It's raw processing power and capacity. If you look at the AWS backlog right now...
Okay, let's talk about that backlog. It sits at $244 billion.
Yes.
Their backlog is $244 billion.
That means customers, enterprises, governments, startups, they have signed contracts promising to pay that amount for future services.
So the demand is clearly there.
Oh, it's there. Revenue is growing at 24% year over year. But Amazon physically cannot build the servers fast enough to service that demand.
So they're literally leaving money on the table because they don't have the computers to run the software.
That's it. Capacity is the bottleneck right now. They have the customers, they have the contracts lined up.
But they don't have the slots in the rack.
Exactly. And that brings us to the NVIDIA problem.
Yes, the NVIDIA tax. It feels
Yeah.
like everyone in tech is paying it right now.
Everyone is. NVIDIA makes the GPUs, the graphics processing units that power AI.
Right.
And they have an absolute stranglehold on the market, which means they have massive, massive margins. We're talking gross margins upwards of 70%.
Which means for every dollar Amazon spends on an NVIDIA chip, 70 cents is pure profit for NVIDIA.
Yep.
That has to hurt Amazon's soul.
Oh, it absolutely kills them. I mean, if you are Amazon and you are famous for being incredibly frugal.
This is the company that used to use doors as desks,
Yeah.
famously.
Right, the door desks. You hate giving that kind of margin to someone else. You want to escape the NVIDIA tax. So a huge chunk of this $200 billion is going toward vertical integration.
They're making their own chips.
They are, and they are doubling down on it hard.
Mm.
You have two main product lines here, Trainium and Inferentia.
Trainium and Inferentia. They sound like, I don't know, Greek gods. Or maybe Transformers?
They sort of are in the AI world, but the distinction between them is really important for you to understand because it explains how AI actually works as a business model.
Okay, lay it out for us. What's the difference?
Think of AI in two distinct phases. Phase one is training.
Okay.
That's like sending a student to university. It's reading the entire internet, learning the patterns, getting smart. It takes months. It costs hundreds of millions of dollars, and it takes massive, massive compute power.
Right.
That's what the Trainium chip is for.
Okay, so training the university professor.
Right. And then phase two is inference.
Inference.
Yes. That's like the graduate actually going to work. When you ask an AI model a question and it gives you an answer, that is inference.
It's applying what it learned.
Exactly. That takes less power per individual query, but you do it billions of times a day.
So that's what Inferentia is for.
Exactly.
But why separate them?
Yeah.
Why not just use one chip for both phases?
Efficiency. Pure efficiency. NVIDIA's GPUs are general purpose. They are great at everything. They are the Swiss Army knives of chips.
Okay.
But Amazon's chips are purpose-built. They're like a highly specialized scalpel. By stripping out all the general stuff they don't need, Amazon claims these proprietary chips promise up to 50% better price performance compared to standard GPUs.
50%. That is a massive number when you're talking about billions of dollars in electricity and hardware.
It's huge. It creates a massive moat.
Yeah.
If Amazon can offer AI compute at half the cost of Microsoft simply because they own the silicon, they win the market.
And we are seeing the rollout of Trainium 3 right now.
Yes, and the specs on this are incredibly impressive. It's offering doubled compute performance for specific workloads compared to just the previous generation.
Doubled.
Yes.
And it's not just the AI chips, right? It's the standard processors, too.
Correct. The Graviton chips.
Right, Graviton.
These are the CPUs, the brains of the standard servers. Graviton is now powering the vast majority of new EC2 capacity.
EC2 being the Elastic Compute Cloud, basically the virtual servers that everyone rents from Amazon.
Exactly. So why does this matter? It's not just about saving money, though obviously saving 50% is great.
Right.
It's about controlling the stack. If Amazon owns the chip design, they aren't beholden to supply chain shortages from third parties.
Right. They aren't waiting in line.
Exactly. If NVIDIA can't ship enough H100s or whatever the current model is, Amazon just says, fine, we'll just print more Trainium chips. It gives them total control.
It sounds like they are trying to become completely independent of the rest of the hardware market.
They absolutely are.
But they aren't going it alone on the software side, are they?
Yeah.
Because we saw a massive, massive announcement regarding OpenAI.
Yes. This was the other huge shocker. Amazon investing $50 billion in OpenAI.
$50 billion. That is, I mean, Microsoft was the big OpenAI partner for years.
Yeah.
This feels like a tectonic strategic shift.
It is a complete realignment of the industry.
Hmm?
It's an initial $15 billion, followed by another $35 billion based on certain conditions.
Wow.
But what's fascinating here isn't just the size of the check, it's the technical integration. They are building something called a stateful runtime environment.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Mm.
Stateful runtime environment. That sounds incredibly jargon heavy.
It does.
What does it actually mean for a normal business?
Think of it this way. Right now, a lot of AI agents, these autonomous software bots, and they're kind of amnesiac.
Amnesiacs,
Yeah.
like Dory from Finding Nemo?
Yeah, exactly like that. They do a task, and then they completely reset.
Okay.
Let's say you want an AI to organize a complex supply chain shipment.
Sure.
It has to check inventory, then check shipping rates, then book a truck, then email the driver.
Makes sense.
In a standard environment, every single time the AI jumps from checking inventory to checking shipping, it risks losing the context.
Oh, I see.
You have to feed it the information all over again. It forgets what it just did. It's stateless.
Which is slow, expensive, and I imagine highly prone to error. You don't want an amnesiac managing your billion-dollar supply chain.
Exactly. You really don't. A stateful runtime environment allows the AI agent to remember.
Okay.
It maintains the context, the actual state of the interaction, while it jumps between all these different tools and databases.
It doesn't have to start from scratch every time it opens a new application.
Right. This is absolutely key for enterprise customers who want to build complex apps on AWS that actually do real work, not just, chat back and forth.
So it makes the AI useful for actual heavy business processes, not just writing marketing emails or writing poems.
Right. And by partnering with OpenAI to build this specifically on AWS, Amazon is basically saying to the market, we are the best place to run the smartest models.
They're locking in the high-value enterprise customers.
Yes. It creates incredible stickiness. If you build your complex, stateful app on AWS, you can't just easily move it over to Google Cloud overnight. You are locked in.
Okay, so they have the custom chips, they have the big software partners, but there is a physical constraint here that I think a lot of people overlook.
Definitely.
You can have all the chips in the world, you can have the smartest AI models, but if you can't plug them into the wall...
You're talking about the energy crisis.
Exactly. Section 2 of our deep dive here, the power constraint.
This is the invisible wall that the entire AI industry is hitting right now. Everyone is obsessing over chips, but the real bottleneck is just plain electricity.
Right, because a modern hyperscale data center requires anywhere from 150 to 300 megawatts of power.
Yes.
300 megawatts. Just to visualize that for you listening, that's enough to power a small city.
It is. A decent-sized city, really. And here is the core problem. AI workloads run 24/7.
They don't sleep.
No, they don't. They need what we call firm power, or baseload power.
Meaning the power supply cannot fluctuate.
Right. You cannot run a massive data center that demands 99.999% uptime on wind and solar alone.
Because the wind doesn't always blow and the sun doesn't always shine.
Exactly. Intermittent renewables just cannot provide that baseload. Batteries help, of course, but they aren't nearly enough for this kind of scale yet.
Right, if a big cloud passes over your solar farm, you can't just tell the AI to stop thinking for an hour while you wait for the sun.
You can't. The models crash. So Amazon needs massive, constant, reliable power.
And their solution, go nuclear.
Literally go nuclear. They're making an incredibly aggressive pivot into nuclear energy right now.
Because they have that 2040 net zero climate pledge to meet.
Right, they have the climate pledge, but they also have to power these incredibly power-hungry AI chips.
And nuclear is the only thing that checks both boxes.
Exactly. Zero carbon footprint and massive, reliable baseload power.
So tell us about the Cascade project.
This is fascinating. It's located near Richland, Washington. Amazon is officially partnering with Energy Northwest and X-Energy
To build what?
to build small modular reactors, or SMRs.
SMRs. We've heard this buzzword for a few years now in tech circles. It sounds a bit like science fiction. How is this different from the massive nuclear plants of the 1970s?
It's a completely different paradigm. Think of the old nuclear plants as custom-built cathedrals.
Okay.
They were massive. They took 10 to 15 years to build. Incredibly complex, huge physical footprint. Every single one was unique.
Right.
SMRs are more like factory-built engines.
Oh, interesting.
You build them on an assembly line in a factory, and then you just truck them to the site. They are modular.
And what about the safety aspect? Because obviously People hear the word nuclear and they immediately get nervous. We all watch the Chernobyl miniseries.
Right, of course. The technology that you're using here is the X-100.
They use one.
Yes, it's a high-temperature gas-cooled reactor. But the really cool part, the part that actually addresses that public fear, is the fuel itself.
What kind of fuel does it use?
It uses TRISO fuel.
Creosote fuel.
Yes. It stands for tristructural isotropic particle fuel.
That is quite a mouthful.
It is, but the concept is brilliant. Picture a standard poppy seed.
Okay, a tiny poppy seed.
Inside that tiny seed is the uranium, but it's coated in multiple layers of incredibly tough ceramic and carbon.
Oh, like a jawbreaker candy.
Exactly like a jawbreaker, hard ceramic shells. And the physics of it are such that it physically cannot melt down.
Wait, it cannot melt down.
It cannot. It retains the radioactive material inside those shells, even at extreme temperatures.
How extreme?
Temperatures much higher than the reactor itself can ever physically reach under any failure condition.
So it's fundamentally meltdown proof.
That's the core design claim, yes.
Yes.
The basic laws of physics prevent the fuel from melting.
Which changes everything about where you can put these things.
Exactly. It makes them much safer to place near industrial centers, or in this case, directly next to massive data centers.
And what kind of scale are we talking about for the Cascade project?
They were starting with 4 modules, which gets them about 320 megawatts.
So that powers one big data center.
Right. But they plan to scale up to 12 modules eventually, which is nearly a gigawatt of power, 960 megawatts.
A gigawatt of nuclear power dedicated just to Amazon. That is literally Doc Brown territory.
It is.
And that's not the only nuclear deal they've made, right?
No, not at all. They also bought a massive data center campus in Pennsylvania.
The Susquehanna purchase.
Yes. It is connected directly to the Susquehanna nuclear power plant. They initially bought the campus for $650 million,
Okay.
but they are turning it into a $20 billion campus investment.
Now, when you say connected directly, what does that actually mean in energy terms?
It means it's behind the meter.
Behind the meter.
Yes. They aren't pulling power from the general utility grid like you or I do at home.
They aren't going through the middleman.
No, they are plugging straight into the reactor itself.
Wow. So they are effectively becoming an energy company.
They essentially have to. They're looking for energy sovereignty.
Energy sovereignty, meaning they control their own destiny.
Exactly. They want to generate their own raw power to ensure their AI data centers never go dark, regardless of what the public grid is doing.
Because the public grid is struggling.
It is. If the U.S. grid has a brownout, or if energy prices suddenly spike because of a massive heat wave in August, Amazon doesn't care. They keep running.
That is a level of vertical integration that honestly goes back to the days of, like, Henry Ford owning rubber plantations in Brazil just for his tires.
It really is the modern equivalent. It's owning the absolute means of production, from the physical electron all the way to the software algorithm.
And I imagine that upsets the grid operators, by the way, because that baseload power is no longer available for the rest of us on the public grid.
No, it causes huge friction. But Amazon is willing to pay a massive premium for that ultimate security.
Okay, so we have the ground game covered here. We've got the custom chips, the stateful software, the nuclear plants. Now let's look up.
The space race.
Section 3, the space race. This is where we have to talk about the project formerly known as Kuiper.
Right, the big rebrand. Back in November 2025, they officially changed the name to Amazon LEO.
LEO, standing for Low Earth Orbit.
Correct.
I have to say, just purely from a marketing perspective, LEO is a lot easier to say than Kuiper.
It's definitely more consumer-friendly. I mean, Kuiper sounds a bit,
Scientific.
yeah, scientific, maybe a bit cold. Leo sounds like a helpful assistant. Or a friendly dog. You know, I'm connecting to Leo. It works well.
It does, but the rebrand isn't the real story here, is it? The big story is the intense pressure they are operating under right now.
The deadline. It is all about the deadline.
The FCC deadline. Let's get into this because this is a hard cliff they are facing.
It is. Amazon is legally required by the FCC to launch and operate 50% of its planned satellite constellation by July 30th, 2026.
And the total planned is 3,236 satellites.
Right. So they have to have over 1,600 up and running by July.
That is, I mean, that is extremely soon.
It is right around the corner. And the stakes couldn't be higher. If they miss this deadline, they legitimately risk losing their spectrum license.
And that spectrum is essentially the real estate in space.
It is worth billions. If they lose that license, the whole LEO project could just collapse. And the FCC doesn't usually play games with these deadlines.
Which completely explains why the launch schedule we're seeing is so frantic right now.
Frantic is the perfect word for it. They have over 20 heavy launches planned for just 2026 alone.
Who are they using to launch all these?
Everyone they can get. They are using Blue Origin, obviously, but also ULA, and even their main rival, SpaceX rockets. They are buying capacity everywhere.
But the manufacturing side, that's the part that is really wild to me.
The Kirkland facility.
Right. They're building these satellites at a facility in Kirkland, Washington, at a rate of 5 satellites per day.
5 per day. It is assembly line manufacturing for literal spacecraft.
It's unprecedented speed. Usually, a single satellite takes months and months to build.
And they are cranking them out like Toyotas. But they absolutely have to, just to secure that FCC license.
Let's talk about the hardware on the ground, though.
Yeah.
The terminals. Because you need a dish to talk to the satellite.
Right. They have a whole new lineup of terminals.
Walk us through them.
Sure. You have the entry level, which is the LEO Nano.
Nano?
It's tiny, 7 inches square, fits in a backpack, delivers about 100 megabits per second.
They're very portable.
Then the standard is the LEO Pro, 11-inch square, getting you 400 megabits.
Okay.
And then the big one, the LEO Ultra. This is enterprise grade. It's delivering a full gigabit per second from space.
A gigabit.
Yeah.
From a satellite.
Yes.
But let's look at the why of all this. They aren't just launching these to win a space race for fun. The business case is really sharpening up.
It is.
And it's not just about competing with Starlink for rural home internet, is it?
No, though obviously taking some consumer market share from Starlink is part of the plan. But the real money, the massive structural advantage, is in the B2B side.
Right. Business to business.
Yes. You mentioned the Vanu partnership in your notes earlier. This is a perfect practical use case.
Let's talk about Vanu.
Vanu is a company that builds mobile network infrastructure.
Cell towers.
Exactly. Amazon is partnering with them to use the LEO network to connect mobile towers in rural southern Africa.
So instead of having to dig trenches and run fiber optic cables through the jungle or across the desert to connect a remote cell tower.
You just beam the signal straight down from the LEO satellite to the tower, and then the tower distributes the normal cell signal to the phones in the village.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's called backhaul, right?
Yes, backhaul. It saves these local telecom operators billions of dollars in physical infrastructure costs. The estimates are around $10.3 billion in savings.
That is a massive value proposition. But what about the AWS integration? How does the satellite network actually connect to the cloud infrastructure we were just talking about?
This is where the double engine concept really comes to life.
Yeah.
LEO creates a completely private global network.
Private.
Yes. So imagine you are a big enterprise, say a multinational mining company in Australia, or a global shipping fleet in the Pacific.
Okay.
You can connect your remote operational data directly to the AWS cloud via the LEO satellites, totally bypassing the public internet.
Why does bypassing the public internet matter so much?
2 things: security and latency. If you are a major defense contractor or a huge financial institution, you do not want your highly sensitive data bouncing around the open public web where it can be intercepted.
Right.
You want a dedicated private pipe. Amazon now provides the pipe that's LEO and the destination that's AWS.
So it keeps the customer entirely locked inside the Amazon ecosystem.
Exactly. It's a closed, secure loop. And remember, they control the manufacturing of the satellites, the launch contracts, the space hardware, and the ground stations.
So the satellites feed the cloud feeds the AI models are run on Amazon chips powered by Amazon nuclear plants.
It is all seamlessly connected.
It's incredible. But speaking of AI, let's bring this whole massive conversation back down to earth.
Yeah.
To the thing most of you listening actually use Amazon for on a weekly basis.
Shopping.
Shopping. Section 4, the retail revolution. We have to talk about Rufus.
We really do.
Rufus, the AI shopping assistant, it feels like it just appeared on our phones overnight, but now it is quite literally everywhere.
It is widely deployed now. The early 2026 numbers show roughly 250 million active users.
That adoption rate is insane.
But the stat that really caught my eye isn't the user count, it's the conversion rate.
Right.
Shoppers who engage with Rufus in a session are 60% more likely to actually buy a product.
60%.
Yes.
That is a retail marketing dream. I mean, usually you fight tooth and nail just for 1 or 2% increase in conversion.
It's a huge jump. And it's entirely because Rufus fundamentally solves what we call the intent gap.
The intent gap. Explain what that means for the listener.
Okay, think about how we all used to search on Amazon just a few years ago. You'd type a few keywords into the search bar, like running shoes.
Right.
That is a keyword search. Then Amazon gives you a list of 1,000 different shoes, and you have to manually filter through all of them.
Right. You click on men's size 10, then you click blue, then under $100. It's a highly manual process. You're doing all the cognitive work.
Exactly. But your actual intent, the real reason you are searching might be, I need running shoes for flat feet because my knees hurt when I jog on pavement.
Right.
Old Amazon couldn't really handle that complex query well. It would just awkwardly look for the words knee and shoe in product descriptions.
And probably show you knee braces instead of shoes.
Exactly. But new Amazon, powered by Rufus, understands the underlying intent. You can literally just type or say, what are the best running shoes for flat feet? And it gives you a personalized consultation.
It tells you why a specific shoe is good for your exact problem.
Yes, it shifts the entire shopping paradigm from a tedious search task to an active consultation.
And this fundamentally changes the game for the third-party sellers too, doesn't it?
Oh, completely. We are moving away from SEO, search engine optimization, towards AEO, answer engine optimization.
Answer engine optimization. So sellers have to optimize their listings so the AI can actually read and understand them.
Right. They have to write much more conversational, detailed descriptions. They have to proactively answer highly specific questions.
Like what?
Like, is this specific blender gear made of plastic or steel? Because if a customer asks Rufus that, and Rufus doesn't know the answer from your listing, it simply won't recommend your product.
Wow. So it forces sellers to be hyper-detailed.
Yes.
But there is a massive controversy brewing here, isn't there?
Yeah.
Because Rufus isn't exactly a neutral, unbiased arbiter of truth. It's not an independent personal shopper working for you.
No, it works for Amazon.
Right.
It is a black box. We don't know exactly how it ranks things, and the data strongly suggests it is a highly biased box.
Give us the numbers on that bias.
Well, independent tracking shows that 83% of Rufus's top recommendations are for products directly sold by Amazon rather than third-party sellers.
83%.
And it gets worse. Amazon Basics items.
The house brand.
Yes! They are recommended 6 times more often than their actual market share would naturally justify.
So if you ask Rufus for the best AA batteries, Rufus essentially says, wow, what a coincidence. Amazon Basics are the greatest batteries ever made.
Surprisingly often, yes. And it's not just house brand bias, it's the core business model evolving. Amazon is now aggressively integrating sponsored ads directly into the AI conversation itself.
Oh, wow. So the actual advice you were getting from the AI is sponsored.
It's rapidly moving that way. Imagine you ask Rufus, what 4K TV should I buy for a bright room? And the answer you get is heavily influenced by which television manufacturer paid Amazon the most money for that specific ad slot in the AI's brain.
That is wild.
Rufus is expected to become a massive standalone profit center. They are projecting $1.2 billion in direct profit from Rufus ad placements by 2027.
It's effectively a high-trust conversational sales channel that Amazon controls absolutely completely.
Yes.
That is, honestly, it's potent.
Yeah.
And a little scary. It creates this perfectly closed loop where you ask Amazon what you should buy, Amazon's AI tells you to buy an Amazon product, and then you seamlessly buy it on Amazon.
It is efficiency at its absolute finest.
But speaking of efficiency, we have to talk about the human cost of all this.
We do.
Not the dollar cost of the $200 billion, but the actual human cost. Section 5. The Great Flattening.
This is the elephant in the room with all these tech earnings lately.
We really cannot talk about a $200 billion capital investment without talking about where some of that free cash flow is coming from.
Or rather, whose salaries are no longer being paid to free up that cash.
The layoffs.
Yes, the Great Flattening.
Between late 2025 and January 2026, Amazon systematically cut roughly 30,000 corporate jobs.
30,000. Just to break that down, it was 14,000 in October and then another 16,000 right after the holidays in January.
That is the population of a decent-sized town, just gone from the payroll.
It is. And the stated corporate goal for this was flattening management layers, removing excess bureaucracy, getting leaner and faster.
But you think there was a direct connection to the massive AI spending we've been discussing?
It's very hard to ignore the correlation. Now, to be fair, Amazon executives completely deny that AI is directly replacing these specific people.
Right. They say it's just about organizational efficiency.
Yes. But if you look at leaked internal memos and productivity dashboards, the remaining teams are under immense pressure to aggressively use internal AI tools to essentially do the work of the people who just left.
So efficiency is really just a polite code word for AI automation in this specific context.
Very often, yes. The metric that really stands out to me is that Amazon alone was responsible for 52% of all tech layoffs in early 2026.
Over half the industry's layoffs were just Amazon.
Yes, they are heavily driving this macroeconomic trend.
It feels like a massive cultural shift for them. I mean, Amazon used to heavily pride itself publicly on being Earth's best employer.
Yeah.
That was one of their core leadership principles.
They are definitely pivoting. They are shifting from being a massive, sprawling human employer to being a ruthless, highly automated efficiency machine.
And what's the internal mood like?
The sentiment among remaining employees, from what we read in the industry reports, is basically fear and severe fatigue. People are constantly wondering who is next.
But the stock market?
Oh, eventually, the market loves efficiency. The market absolutely loves the idea that a company can generate significantly more revenue with far fewer actual human beings.
It's the compute war again, isn't it?
Yeah.
You fire the expensive human workers so you can afford to buy the incredibly expensive GPU chips.
That is the exact trade-off happening in real time. Capital is moving forcefully from human labor to silicon infrastructure.
They are swapping carbon-based workers for silicon-based workers.
It's a brutal calculus, but that unequivocally seems to be the play.
So let's try to bring this all together. Let's synthesize this for you listening.
Okay.
We have the custom chips, the nuclear power plants, the satellite constellations, the AI shopping assistant, and a much leaner human workforce.
Connect the dots. The $200 billion is the fuel for all of this?
It connects everything.
Right. The money funds the custom chips that run the advanced AI.
Yes.
The money funds the nuclear plants that provide the massive power for those chips.
Right.
The money funds the space satellites that feed global data into the system and extend the private network everywhere.
And then the AI Rufus and Bedrock monetizes that entire massive stack by completely controlling the end customer interface. Amazon is moving so far beyond just being a store where you buy things.
Way, way beyond. They are rapidly becoming the invisible infrastructure of the global economy itself. Think about the layers here.
Lay them out.
They control the platform, the retail marketplace.
Yeah.
They control the logistics, the massive delivery network.
Yes.
They control the intelligence Rufus and the AWS AI stack. They control the power at the nuclear SMRs.
And they control the connectivity, the LEO satellite network. It's horizontal and vertical integration at a scale we literally haven't seen since the days of Standard Oil.
It's a total comprehensive ecosystem, a utility almost, like water or electricity.
So what is the risk then? Why did the stock drop so violently initially if this plan is so logically comprehensive?
CapEx fatigue.
Investors getting tired of the spending,
Exactly. Investors worry deeply about overbuilding.
like the telecom crash in the early 2000s.
Precisely. What if Amazon builds all these nuclear plants and launches thousands of satellites, and the massive AI revenue they're projecting just doesn't materialize fast enough?
What if the AI bubble actually bursts?
Right. It's a terrifying amount of capital to lock up in unmoving concrete and silicon if the demand suddenly softens.
And what about regulators? They can't be ignoring this.
That's the other massive dark cloud. The FTC antitrust trial looming in 2027. If you get too big and too integrated, the government inevitably tends to step in. And Amazon is looking very, very big right now.
Right. If they control the power grid, the internet space, and the retail market,
Yeah.
that paints a massive regulatory target right on their back.
It does, but the reward.
The reward is ownership of the future.
Exactly. If they pull this massive gamble off, they own the foundational physical and digital layers of the entire AI age. They become utterly indispensable to human life.
Which brings us perfectly to our final thought for today.
Yes. Here is where it gets really philosophically interesting for you, the listener. We all used to worry about Amazon destroying Main Street retail.
We did. We worried about the local independent bookstore closing down.
Right. But honestly, that seems so quaint now.
It really does.
Look at what they are actively building today. Nuclear reactors, sovereign space constellations, sovereign proprietary AI. They are systematically securing their own independent energy, their own global communications, and their own synthetic intelligence.
It begs the question, are they trying to effectively become a nation state?
In terms of sheer capability, maybe they already are. I mean, they have the operating budget of a small country and the physical infrastructure of a global superpower.
And it raises this really provocative question for all of us. If your trusted shopping assistant controls exactly what products you see,
Yes.
and your high-speed internet literally comes down from their private sky.
Right.
And the electricity for the digital apps you use daily comes directly from their private nuclear reactors.
Is the customer still king?
Or are we just users living inside Amazon's world?
That is a thought that will definitely keep me up tonight.
It's a brave new world out there.
It certainly is.
It really is. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the underlying mechanics of Amazon's massive gamble. It's a complex story we will definitely be watching very closely as 2026 rolls on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time.